windshield this morning.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Good morning. Let's call the meeting to order. It is Friday, December 18th. We're here for our regular monthly meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Lindsay, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Kathy,
Here.
Ms. Call,
Here.
Mr. Key,
Here.
Mr. Pollock,
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here. Okay, everyone has our agenda. There's no special announcements. We're gonna move right into, I think financial, or do you have anything to add, or we're gonna put that for next meeting?
If we can put it for next meeting, Debbie is actually traveling today for the Christmas week coming, so she's busy working on getting her arms around our last year's.
Okay. All right, then we'll move to Sandy.
Morning, morning. So from the 1st of January, obviously 2021, Bay County EMS are going to be taking over our transportation of patients from Mexico Beach to either obviously Gulf or Bay Medical. The reason for this is basically that Gulf County wanted to increase their cost to Bay County EMS services exponentially for no increase in service or patient care. So what is going to happen is that Bay County EMS is going to put a full-time paramedic in his own rescue truck here in Mexico Beach. He's going to take over my office upstairs, and I'll stay, if Kathy will have me, basically still with Kathy in City Hall. And they will work alongside our EMTs, which will basically give us, immediate advanced cardiac life support in the city from the moment we arrive on the scene. And they will be aided obviously by our 6 fully trained EMTs from upstairs. It'll enable them to be able to do things like EKGs, which can then be sent immediately to the hospital to get feedback from the hospital if necessary. Also, the hospital know what's coming. They're also going to bring with them a Lucas device, which is a CPR machine, or a machine that does CPR for you whilst you can administer oxygen and other drugs that are necessary. So it basically means that you don't have somebody there pumping away. All of that is done by a machine. They're, it's going to give us a significantly better patient care, way quicker with all the drugs that an LLS system will be can administer. So to me, and I think to everybody in Mexico Beach, it is an increase in patient care. Should there be a delay from the ambulance coming from Bay County, Gulf County will still be a mutual aid to us should we need them, but our primary ambulances will now be coming from Bay County. So if anybody has any questions on that real quick.
I think it's a good idea.
And they're basically going to start, they will be here on January 31st, so because in theory it starts at midnight on the 1st. So they're going to basically come in and be set up on the 31st. And they're actually upstairs at the moment already putting in some equipment that they need for themselves. That's what all the noise is. Hydrants are being replaced rapidly, as Kevin's not here right now, but they're in the process of replacing all the damaged hydrants and or servicing the ones that need to be straightened and so on and so forth. My Christmas list for the children for the presents on Christmas Day is growing, but as many of you that may or may know any children that are coming to town, please let me know. For those that are here, we do a drive around in the fire trucks and we give out presents that have been donated by residents of the city to the children in the city. So please continue to increase that list as best we can. All right, and please everybody have a safe and happy Christmas. And I hope I don't see you for any other reason other than to be your children's presents.
Sandy, there's no change in that. When we got a citizen dial 911,
It's exactly the same. When our citizens dial 911,
it goes to Bay County
It'll-
Dispatch.
It'll go to Bay County Dispatch, or if they happen to be a little bit closer to Gulf County, it could still go to Gulf County. It depends on where the cell service sends it and decides where you are. But we will still be dispatched ourselves and themselves upstairs together using the same dispatch system that we're on. So when you hear that speaker go off upstairs, that'll be in their office too. They're on the same radios now that we are, whereas we're on separate radios with Gulf County. So everything's becoming a little bit more consolidated.
Thank you. Okay, questions for fire? No? All right, police? Lieutenant Williams?
Everything's been run smoothly, sir. I really don't have anything major to report.
Well, that's good news. Any questions? All right, then, Merry Christmas. Gina?
We have issued the Driftwood building permit and also the Mexico Beach Crossings apartments, in the St. Joe development. They've submitted application for building permit. But they have been waiting on an address and parcel number and things like that, but they got that all squared away, and so we're beginning that review.
All right, so that's the 140,
It's 9 apartment buildings. I believe it's 100 and some odd.
yeah, 100 some odd at the, for phase 1 of the St. Joe project.
Correct.
Yeah. I saw them put some silk fence up, I figured they were gonna start. Well, that's great news. And motel has got the permit, that's even better news. Any questions for building part?
Did DOT come back with anything on the road to the boat ramp there? Where they're putting the apartments in, they were gonna use the same road, they were gonna try to put a road closer to the bridge for the boat ramp to come out. They were gonna look into that,
I
so
haven't
not
seen
everybody's
anything
on
about
that same road as the boat ramp.
I haven't seen anything about that, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, we need to follow up, you're right, Bridget talked that there was some concern that was gonna be too close to the bridge, but we can, or can you shoot a note on that and let's find out what their, that traffic flow right there.
Will do.
And I have a question for Gina. Did St. Joe ever develop a tree plan for any of the development down there? Because when they submitted all of this, it was 2 years ago, and they said all the trees are dead. About 50% of the protected species of sand live oak have blossomed back out, have leafed back out, so they are not dead, which means that their so-called clearing of the trees is now no longer valid, and that is a protected species and is part of their FUD requirement. So
Correct.
what about the tree plan?
They did submit a tree survey, and I asked them for some more information. I haven't heard back from them on that yet. So,
I would appreciate it if you would stay on top of that with all the other things that you
Yeah.
have to do, because it would be a real shame if they violated that requirement to have a plan to save those trees. Thank you.
All right, code?
Good morning.
Morning.
I took the income that we were receiving from the boat ramp, just to find out how much money we really did make since I started back in March through yesterday. For just the boat launch $10 fees, we made $16,702.05. For the annual $50 permit, we made $7,650. And then for the boat launch $15 fines, we made $531, giving us $24,883.05. So Daryl can buy some of the words to go fishing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good information.
And that goes into a special fund. It does not go to Daryl for fishing.
We all got to split it up and buy lures.
It goes back into the canal so that we can maintain the canal.
Okay. If that's what we gotta do, then.
Thank you, Kathy. Anything else?
No, sir.
Question for code? Okay. Thomas?
Good morning, Mayor,
Good
Council.
morning.
Public Works, just want to kind of give you an update. As of right now, a couple of our new employees have ground over 250 stumps from dead trees. utilities. They started on Maryland Parkway and went all the way through there, and now they're working down 15th Street. And we're gonna continue to work through the winter months, and cutting down dead trees and getting rid of those stumps, anything on the city right of ways that we can. Also, some of y'all probably have noticed down in front of Shell Shack, we finally took on the duty of fixing the hole that's on the side of the road. Tim and Andy and the road department just about have that completed now. That should be finished up probably today, sometime today. We're gonna get rid of that eyesore and make that safe again. Also let you know the canal is fully open, all the way out to the sandbar. We are gonna continue to dredge, on the west side, but we had to make our way back out there. These storms we've been having on the weekends kind of backing us up. We having to go back and reopen, but right now the canal is fully open. Also, the Public Works employees wanted me to wish all the council a Merry Christmas, and the city and the residents of Mexico Beach. We've had a pretty good year amongst the pandemic and everything, and recovering from the storm. But we had a city luncheon yesterday for Christmas, and it was really nice, and they appreciated that. And they want me to let y'all know, thank you and Merry Christmas. That's all I have for the Public Works side. I also have Kevin's report. He's not here. He had to have an MRI today. But if you want me to, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead with that and then we'll.
Okay. On the utility side, we added 3 new services that were connected. We had 8 main water breaks that we tended to this past month. We had a total usage of 8,126 gallons of water that went out through the city this past month. And on the garbage, we had 136,320 pounds of trash hauled off. And that pretty much covers it. I handed y'all, each one of y'all have a handout of both of these. Other stuff you can look at. Other than that, that's all I've got, Mayor.
And Mayor, I've got a couple things between Public Works and Utility to add. The incinerator does go offline officially January 2nd. So from that point forward, we will be running our garbage all the way over to Steelfield. And we've worked out a schedule where we can make that happen and not slow anything down for all intents and purposes.
Mario, I think they notified Shannon the other day and said they've extended that now till March. So I think we're still gonna be able to haul till March before we have to start doing this Steelfield.
Okay. The canal project is underway. Sheet piles are going in along the canal. We've got a good bit of work going on over there, so everybody please understand, once that project is let, it's really the contractor's responsibility to keep safety and everything, so please respect the construction that's going on along the marina and at the boat ramp and all those places. So there's a good bit of work. It'll probably kick off at a much faster rate after the holidays. Also wanted to mention that the sidewalk work will start on January 4th, I believe. So that work will start, and the Welcome Center work will start about the same time. So we'll get those things done. It doesn't mean that things aren't happening. They have to get shop drawings, and they have to get approvals for materials and all that fun stuff. So that stuff is happening now. The physical work will start come January. I don't know if people noticed, but there was a dredge just outside of 37th Street where the city pier is. That dredging that was going on was to determine the depth of the piles that will go out for the city pier. So again, that's progress through the FEMA process. And then lastly, on the sidewalk work that's gonna kick off, Tommy worked with FDOT to figure out what work FDOT was doing versus what work the city was doing, so that we weren't doing their work and they weren't doing our work. And because of the monies coming from FEMA, if they do our work, we don't get paid for the work that they do. So we wanna make sure that we do all of our work basically first, and then they have a little bit more leverage to extend their work to other areas if we did some of their scope. So again, some good coordination has gone on over the last week or so to get those things done. And then the parking lot over at adjacent to Toucans is underway. It should be complete by the end of next week, before Christmas. I mean, like Tuesday or Wednesday it should be done. So that activity is going on, and we're currently bidding landscape drawings for the walkways, and that is it.
Okay. Questions for utilities or public works? Anybody?
I got, Tommy, what about the road signs? I'll refresh my memory. I remember you told me the last time.
We finally made contact with them, and, about a week ago, and they said they were be delivered to us in about 3 weeks. So we should be about 2 weeks out of having all the road signs in once we do that, we're gonna put everybody we can on that and get our road signs all put back up throughout the city.
I spoke with Nick about the, walkovers. Gina, they're getting in touch with you to do permits and stuff
Are
for the
they?
walkovers?
It's a conversation that I need to have with Gina.
Oh, okay.
Gina produced a punch list for, I think, 5 or 6.
The ones that did.
The fact that the contractor pulled a permit and has never closed out a permit gives us some leverage through the building department to go out and do the final inspection, and we can focus on the issues that are, basically code required, uplift, structural issues, so we'll focus on those issues and get him out here because, again, the fact that, he's not closed out permits gives us some leverage.
Anybody else?
Mario, with the parking lots going in, that's 2 times, restrooms going back in there?
Eventually, we will get a restroom there. We have, I think we have 3 more restrooms that will get done as FEMA monies come through.
Anybody else? Is David here?
No, sir, he had surgery this week and he will not be here. And I basically gave a lot of his update also on the project.
Is there, I assume you saw the response from DOT?
Yes, sir.
Is that alarming, or is that, I didn't, there was a pretty long list, I just wondered
Yeah.
if,
Some of the things that they put on there, like telling us to spread out the connection so that we could
Yeah.
downsize our lines, is a great idea. That's what we would like to do, but the way that they storm harden the roadway, it makes it where we can't get water across the street. to
well, I
a
guess I was
particular
thinking
place.
DOT would know that was done that way, they did.
It's the left hand not talking to the right hand, so it's not uncommon, but we'll get through it.
Okay. So, but is the
Our
bid
land-
out?
Our landscape architect is working on a response. If it changes the drawings in any way, shape, fashion, or form, what we'll do is we'll put an
Just
addendum
amend it?
out. Yeah, it's,
Okay.
again, we were trying to fast track it to get it out. If this slows things down, it'll just slow it down by a week or so.
Okay. All right, then moving on, to, let's see, number 5 on our regular agenda item. Number 1 is a setback variance at 106 32nd Street. We will open a public hearing on a variance request. Mario, if you would, just as you normally do, give us just, for the record, what we got in that in here.
Mayor, we've been working on this a little bit and, working with staff and the building department and trying to troubleshoot this thing. And what we've done is, we've looked at it and with a little bit of understanding that the setback component that is being asked for is on the frontage, it's not on the sides where it really impacts the neighbors as much. It being on the front, the fact that it wasn't caught earlier on in the process, we would hope that council would take that with some understanding. And, even though the planning board suggested denial, I think that legal and the building department and myself are thinking that if we could be a little considerate of it, it would be helpful. Understanding that it was a pile that was set, and once that pile is set, it's kind of awkward to do it. We have made adjustments to the building department, and we've added the responsibility of the building department to require builders to put up their batter boards and give us a place to measure from so that we can accurately measure from the property lines, to make sure that the setbacks are being met before they can, move forward. So it is a requirement that we've added to the system, and in hopes of precluding this from happening in the future. So taking all those things into account, we would hope that, council would consider that, in favor of this request.
titled a variance. Normally a variance, you go to property-specific considerations and reviews. Something has to be unique about the property, but based on what Mario just explained, if there was an ability at some point, the city may have caught this sooner and didn't, and there's some uncertainty there, you could treat this more like a waiver, an exemption. If there's, like I said, if there's a chance that the city had any fault, it's really different than normal variance. It gives you some authority to proceed.
Okay, we'll proceed with the public hearing. Are there those in the public here that are, want to speak or address the council?
My name's David Manassi. I represent Mr. and Mrs. Hand. We don't have anything really to add, but we're here to answer any questions that you may have. The only thing I would like to point out that the economic impact on your decision today, if you don't grant the waiver, we've met with some engineers, we've met with some contractors. The only way to correct the problem is to essentially tear the house down and rebuild it. So we'd be looking at a cost of over $400,000, and we'd be looking at a time frame of about 14 months before they could actually move back in. So we would hope that the council would take that into consideration.
Is there anyone else here to speak during the public hearing phase?
You know, I looked at what went on with the house just before you got published on the website, and it seems like, I mean, somewhere there was a screw up, but I mean, if anybody deserves a waiver for this, they do.
All right, last call. All right, we'll close the public hearing, move to the table. Chair will entertain additional conversation or motion based on what we've heard thus far.
I think since we've, the building department, inspection department is gonna be looking at it now, that should alleviate any of the problems. That was the only thing that was a surprise to me, so, you know, hopefully we won't get this thing again, so I don't have any problem with allowing it, based on the fact that if, we probably should have had that in effect to begin with anyhow. We just, it's one of those things that slipped by you, so.
Well, the only thing actually, what you just said, is the stairs. If that was taken care of, I would have no problem.
So how far is the stair over?
1 foot too wide.
1 foot too wide. And what is the stair width? Does anybody know? Y'all know what the stair width is?
Well,
It's a little over almost 4.5 feet, so it could be shrunk down a little and
Okay.
still make good.
and that would make the variance on
And then
the
it
side.
would, yeah, and then it would not be in setbacks there.
That's a fairly easy thing to do,
Yeah.
considering.
Do y'all see any problem with that?
I think the stair width, well, I'm just talking to the builder right here, we thought it was 3.5 feet, but Gina's got 4.5, so I'm not real sure. We probably, yeah, no, I mean, if we gotta fix the steps, we'll fix the friggin' steps, I just want this nightmare to be over, to be honest with you.
I do have the after the fact survey right here that we can go through and verify that, see if that's fact.
It shows them as 4.4 feet.
According to our paperwork here, it says that they can easily be accommodated based on the survey.
Yeah, there's a survey in the packet that shows the stairs.
Yeah.
It shows 4.4 feet, and that's what I was basing that off of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think any motion be made would have to have that involved in with it, and then
Okay,
He's looking for his measurement.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Is that the after effect, the fact copy that you have in your hand?
Yeah, it was what was submitted with the variance application. See if it's there.
So it shows 4.4.
Yeah. If it's something different, then
or 8 inches.
6 or 8 inches that the steps are built off on the side of the house, you know, so there's that gap. So really, like, if that gap wasn't there,
Just
slide on over there.
There you go.
Cause I love my
There you go.
steps, they're some of my favorite parts.
Okay, more discussion or a motion? How do we wanna deal with that? It seems the steps, if I'm following right, can be adjusted to meet the setback.
So I would say, in making a motion, I would accept the variance on the front, but have the steps changed to meet code. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah.
So that's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, is there further discussion? Ms. Lindsay, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes?
Ms. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Key,
Yes.
Mr. Pollock,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Moving on next is the second reading of ordinance 757, which is the floodplain ordinance. We can, we'll have a motion to read by title only, and then we can have any discussion details once we get a motion.
Make a motion to read ordinance 757 by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion or comment on ordinance 757? Everybody's satisfied we got it how we want it? Any opposition to, reading by title only? Ms. Lindsay, if you would, please.
An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Mexico Beach Land Development Code Section 4.05.00, floodplain requirements, to eliminate elevation requirements that are calculated based on the 500-year flood hazard area, and to make associated amendments to previously adopted technical amendments to the Florida Building Code to amend the Land Development Code, Section 4.06.02, to clarify how to measure heights relative to street elevations, and to require in shaded X zone that the lowest finished floor be 18 inches above the street, providing for applicability, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 757.
Second. Sure.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Lindsay, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on is, number 3, which is a resolution 20-46, which deals with local options, fuel tax. I'm gonna turn that over to our administrator.
Mayor, thank you, and this has been a big community, project for all of the municipalities. We currently just work under the state statutes on how those monies are distributed, and it's based on how much money you spend on your roadways. And with the hurricane happening, very few people were spending money on their roadways. However, Bay County was spending a ton of money on their roadways because they have the abundant portion of the local option fuel tax because of their size and also the half-cent sales tax. So when that happened, Bay County said, look, we're actually doing pretty good. And if we can maintain $6.5 million within our system, what we'd like to do is redistribute any monies over that. So the typical forecast is for that, and there should be an increase of 2, 3, 4, 5, 10% as the years progress. So what they propose to do is take anything over the 6.5 and redistribute it to the municipalities, but they've made the formula heavy for the smaller cities. read through the thing, but they're gonna take 40% of anything that goes over 6.5 million and give it to Mexico Beach. That is a huge windfall for Mexico Beach. Keep in mind, what we get today is 1.6 or 1.4% of that total figure. So it's gonna bump us up by quite a bit. All the municipalities agreed to this. We are the last ones because most of them passed their ordinance on their first meeting in December, as they don't have a second meeting in December, so they, Mike called today and said, do you think y'all are gonna pass it, or do you think you're the only person that doesn't pass it? And I said, no, I can assure you that I think our council will look at it favorably, and we really appreciate all the work and the understanding that the other municipalities had to actually make it bottom heavy as opposed to top heavy. So it's a huge benefit to Mexico Beach, and I would hope that you would consider approving it.
Okay, do we have a motion to read resolution 20-46 by title only?
Make a motion to read resolution 20-46 by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, or, I mean, anybody good?
I like money.
There you go. Well, we'll owe the rest of the municipalities a thank you letter. I will say it's the first time, I guess, I don't know how long, if this ever happened, where we were recognized for our need, and yet we weren't penalized for being small. Lindsay, if you would, please read.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving an interlocal agreement with Bay County and other Bay County municipalities regarding the distribution of local option fuel tax proceeds.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt resolution 20-46.
Second?
Motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to number 4 is a resolution 20-47, which deals with a task order. Before we even do that, I may be the only one that's confused about this, but underwater debris survey, what is this about?
Dina, in her never-ending energy, went out and got the City of Mexico Beach a grant to basically go out and survey from the city limits to the city limits, from the beach out to the second sandbar. And it's an underwater survey, so somebody will go out there and sonar and determine how much debris is left from Hurricane Michael out on the water. And as we learned with our debris in the canal, it really helps if you have a sonar reading. So we are going to get our sonar reading through these grant funds. Once we have that volume delineated and quantified, we will go after next year's funds from the same organization to remove that debris. So this is a two-step process, just like we're doing with the boat ramp. We're going after the design first, and then we'll go after the implementation, and that's what this is, to do the work out there. Dewberry is our city engineer through contract. They've gone out to a consultant that can do this work, and they've gotten this price through their process. And it's the same group that does our beach renourishment, so we're very familiar with the group that's doing this work, and they're also working on our jetty.
Okay,
We don't have any match on that. It's a grant.
Yeah, this is a grant, there's no match on this.
got a motion to read resolution 20-47 by title only?
Make a motion to read resolution 20-47 by title only.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Lindsay, please read.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a task order with Dewberry Engineers, Inc. for professional services for Mexico Beach underwater debris survey in the estimated amount of $49,926.
A motion for adoption?
Make a motion to adopt resolution 20-47.
Second?
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next is resolution 20-48. It deals with a decrease in our contract cost for MX1. Laura, you wanna give a
Yes, sir.
brief explanation on that one?
This is a FEMA project. It was a 428 project, so any savings that we have, we can apply these funds to other 428 type projects. So now that the project is complete, we can take these savings out of that contract with the contractor, and it will go in a kitty that will be used to fund other projects that are storm hardening for the city in some way, shape, fashion, or form. Potentially fixing another pump, you know, some things that will make us stronger for the future. So we'll utilize those funds, and we'll bring those projects back to you before they get obligated. But this is good news. It's $121,000 that was not utilized within the project. So it's a deductive change order.
I noticed that's in bold, black letters. Deduction. All right, is there a motion to read resolution 20-48?
I make a motion to read resolution 20-48 by title only.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Lindsay, please read.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving change order number 5 to the city's agreement with L&R Contracting LLC on MX1, the master lift station, repairs to remove unused contingency funds, a decrease in cost for $121,166.
That's close enough.
That's close.
All right, is there a motion to adopt?
I make a motion, we adopt resolution 20-48.
Have a motion second, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes. Okay, moving on, 6 and 7, Mario?
Mayor, if it's okay, with the council, I'd like to remove both of those items from the agenda. Staff is gonna focus on getting some stuff done with the ordinance that we have in place. And on the plat, there's a good bit of work that we need to do before we bring that back, so we can table those,
Okay,
just take them off.
any, council good with tabling? Okay?
Yes.
All right. Nick?
I do have one item today. Back in the middle of November, we did a second reading and adoption on an ordinance that adjusted what was allowed in the townhome district zoning. It was to ensure that a detached home could be built and to prevent multifamily apartments from being built. We noticed that hearing for 5 p.m. and then just did our normal 9 a.m. meeting like usual. The reason why we would notice it for 5 p.m. is when you change what's allowed or not allowed in the zoning category, the statutes say one of the hearings, either the first or second reading, has to be after 5 p.m. unless the council ahead of time votes by a majority plus one that you want to do it earlier. So some of the staff and I had talked about the 5 p.m. meeting, and then we just didn't get it scheduled for 5 p.m. later. So it's easily corrected. What we'll do is we'll do one more reading and vote on it in January. For right now, what I'd like to know from you is whether you would prefer to do 5 p.m. or your normal 9 a.m. time. If you want to do your normal 9 a.m. time, I'll just ask that you have a motion right now to have that hearing on this townhome district ordinance at 9 a.m. like your usual meeting times. That was probably a little confusing.
I'm good with that.
Me too.
Okay, we just do a motion.
Just start
quick
with
vote.
5.
If we can just do a motion, and everybody.
Oh, you need a motion to,
Yeah, I'll need 4 of the 5 of you to wanna do it at 9 a.m. and then we'll just set it back up just like last time and vote
I make a motion that we set the meeting for, this issue for 9 o'clock regular meeting.
Is that good enough? Have a motion and a second? Darryl, that was close.
I made it.
Good job, good
Thank
job.
you. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any opposition? Let the record reflect it passes 5-0. Nick, what happened for you?
That's all.
That's all? Okay. You're up.
Mayor, I just wanna say thanks to all the employees. Their workload is not just their everyday workload, but, you know, we're building a marina, we're adding sidewalks, we're building parking lots, we're replacing fire hydrants. We're still recovering from the hurricane, and they're doing it very short-handed and no complaints and just full speed ahead. I know that I appreciate all the work. I know that y'all do. I just want to make sure that the public knew that there's a lot going on. That's it for me.
Can I
Go
ask?
ahead, sure.
We've given, Tommy a whole lot more responsibility. Are we, at some point, gonna consider more money for him to do the, cause his workload is like double.
He did receive a raise during the budget amendment, and it was in line with what we were doing when Thomas was leaving and he was coming in. So we have done that, and we've done the same thing with a couple of other employees that he's relayed some of his workload. So we've done that for him and a couple of others, and I think he has one more person that he would like to bump up, because, again, I think it's Ken. Ken is taking on some additional responsibilities, him having the expertise on construction. I think he's gonna pass on some of these construction projects for him to look at.
Well, that was prior to him taking on all the other stuff that he's done, right? I would just like to talk
Sure.
about it at some point, to
Certainly.
bring it up, because I just know personally that I always like when I do a lot of extra stuff, being compensated for it. And I think we should at least look at it and see if, you know, if it's something that he's worthy of.
Okay.
And what about Kevin? Are we gonna do, is he gonna be a interim soon, or is he interim now, or is he gonna be permanent?
He has been interim for a while. We have not gotten any responses on the, and we need another person. So if we don't get another person that has the certification that we're looking for, we do have the fail-safe of going back to Thomas, which Thomas is gonna help during the Christmas holidays. And also Bay County has provided us, some workers that can work off their time on our time and get compensated. So we've found a way of dealing with, not having the 2 certified people in order to do all the checks and balances. But I would like to, in the not too distant future, basically just fill another person into that position, because he is shorthanded as a whole. So we really need another person, but he was compensated as the interim, you know.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Did we reach out to Mary Leonard as an alternate? Did we try that?
No, sir, I did not.
I've been thinking.
Mayor, I could help y'all with that. Mary helped us back when Thomas was here, and, I think Mary is to the point now, she told us not long ago that she just, you know, she's retired now and she don't want to, she's happy doing what she's doing. So I don't think, I mean, it's something we can do, but I don't think she's going to.
Well, I only raised that question. I talked to her. She came by and we just to say Merry Christmas and all that, and
I'll see her
she
tomorrow.
acted like she was pretty bored. She didn't say, I didn't ask her about it, but she acted pretty bored.
I think we ought to ask.
I do too.
I believe Mario or Tommy or somebody or Ninja.
Just reach
Give them
out.
a call and say.
I'll see her
We
tomorrow.
we definitely can do that.
Cause it doesn't, it's not
Yeah.
something, I mean, it's just on a call basis, and it's not
Right.
often, it's not often. So, I'd rather at least try,
Yeah, I'll reach out to her.
but don't tell her I told you to call. No, she's a good gal, and if she could help us, something tells me she might, but, council comments, anyone?
Tommy's doing an outstanding job, and everybody in the city is, and y'all have a good Christmas, Merry Christmas, let's don't forget what Christmas is about.
Amen.
Amen. I agree. Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you all for coming, and have a happy and prosperous new year. All right, Rock, what you got?
I just wanted to say, and it's been said here, last year, I've watched the city workers, they've done a hell of a job. They busted their butts, and as a resident, I appreciate it. And hopefully everybody has a Merry Christmas. You guys have too. Come up here, don't always agree with what you're doing, as you know, I send you the emails, but you've done a great job, you really have. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rock, appreciate it. All right, motion for adjournment.
Merry Christmas and so moved.
All right, thank you, Steve. Merry Christmas.